And here we are at 56 hours into this week's fast. Yeah. Welcome. At this stage, energy may feel different. Cravings may creep in, and your body is deep in transition. In fact, your body has transitioned and is now using an alternate source of energy. This is where the real mental work begins. This is where things begin showing up. And tonight we're talking about going to use or working to use the things that we've learned. Tonight we're going to equip you for this moment right here, but not just for fasting. What we're talking about is we're talking about how do we take what we're learning and use it into the future. We're going to apply this whether you're fasting, whether you are saving, whether you're working on your family. Remember the domains of health? The things that we learn in this space are all designed to help us move in that direction. The way that we stay consistent here is also the way we stay consistent in other areas of our lives. Because the principle is simple. Rules, right results. That's right, rules, right results. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. So I welcome you, whatever platform you're on right now. Whether you're on LinkedIn or Twitch or Twitter, not Twitter, TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or even right here on YouTube, I welcome you to the space. Go ahead, if you're new to us, go ahead and put new in the comments, because we want to make sure that we say hello and give you some kudos for being right here and hanging out with us. If you are joining us and you are one of our accelerator members, hey, we're glad that you have come along and are hanging out in this space as we work to improve our health. If you're joining us because you saw our content in some other platform, whether it's at your church or your doctor's office, you saw us at one of the health fairs that we're doing. We welcome you and thank you for being here. Atlanta Berean from Atlanta, Georgia, Riverside Chapel in Nashville, Tennessee, and the Magazine Street Temple Church in Louisville, Kentucky. And for everyone else, go ahead and drop in the comments where you are. I know we've got people watching us from various countries right now. And we've got people, of course, from right here around the United States. We've got Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York and Florida. We've got Georgia. We've got Tennessee. We've got Nebraska. We've got Texas. We've got California, of course, here in Alabama. And we're just excited for wherever you are. Go ahead and drop that into the comments for us because we want to make sure that we are saying hello to you. We've got some good things that we're going to take a look at here in just a minute. I've got my monitors that we'll look at to see what's been going on with my blood sugar. And of course, right below me is my Dexcom Clarity Report so we can see what's been going on with blood sugars over the last several days. If you've not done so yet, you want to make sure that you get over to our YouTube channel. And if you're pointing people to this space, we want to make sure that you know that there is a simplified version. Well, actually, this is the only version right now. I said the simplified version. It is the only version of what you see there as we walk through this path of improving our health. We've made that streamlined. We simplified it. We have put our YouTube videos. We've taken most of them off of that main page. They're still on the channel, but we've created a couple of playlists that you can just jump into. So the first one is a playlist called Start Here. So if you're interested in knowing what are we doing, what are we talking about, how do we improve our health, how do I jump in and get started, what are the topics they're talking about, what are the pillars, all the things we talk about, that's it right there. The Start Here playlist. And that's a curated list of videos that we've done over the course of the channel and for the course of this year, over the course of the past, that are the pivotal things that you want to make sure that you're picking up as you are embarking on the journey of improving your health. Or if you've been on the journey and you just want to refine it, you want to install it so that it is a permanent thing that's happened, that's where you would start. There's a PDF, a free PDF that you can download that goes along with that. If you get into the description and you scroll down here, there is a PDF that points you to our website, dwainwoodemd.com. Download that. It helps to walk you through the videos. There's some conversations that you'll have. There's some exercises that you will have as you walk through that. Helps you to understand what you should learn from those videos. And at the end of that, what I love about it, there is a commitment statement. It's the Limitless Living commitment statement that says, I am right now willing to take charge of my health, and I'm willing to do what I need to do to be successful. I recommend you sign it, date it, put it in a frame, print it out, put it in a frame, put it on your wall, put it on your desk, at your office, on your mirror, somewhere where you get to see that on a daily basis, and it reminds you of the things that you have committed to doing for your health. The second playlist that you'll see there is one that's titled This Week's Videos. So if you're interested in what we're talking about this week, what did I eat for my last meal before I started my fast, this is where you will find it, and that will update on a weekly basis. All right? Awesome. So just wanted to make sure that we point that out to you. And then, of course, you can get to our website, dwainwoodemd.com as well, and you will see some of that duplicated in that space. Now, my monitor is beeping at me because it's telling me that my blood sugar is low. So let me turn that off really quickly, and then we'll get over to take a look at some of these numbers. And then we'll say hello to our community members. So why don't we do that right now? And so 56 hours, y'all. 56 hours into this fast. A couple of things. If you ended your fast yesterday, congratulations, you did your 24 hours yesterday. Or those of you who started yesterday and you ended it today, congratulations for that. We did our pop-up right around 1:30 or ish. For those of you who were finishing their 24-hour fast. And of course, those who started the fast today and are going into tomorrow, hand clap for you, because we're getting ready to go into the third leg of that. And several people during the pop-up today or even now are putting into the chat where they are in terms of their fasting, what they're doing. I know Juyon sent me a message. I see Kenti that's saying that she's fasting. And so just a lot of people in the community that are currently embarked on this path with us. And so we're excited that you are here. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. And what you're looking at right now, this is my Freestyle Libre. There it is, comes up. Freestyle Libre. And you'll see right there, my blood sugar is right about there is 53. Is what it says. And you'll notice that for most of today, as a matter of fact, all of today, it's been in the red, right? So if I could put my finger on that and scroll through, you'll see it's been in the 50s and 60s, 50s, 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 right? So 50s for most of the afternoon. And we'll see in a minute what the Dexcom says about this, okay? Remember, the two of them are different. And of course, I've got off to my side the Keto Mojo and the Contour that we'll look at to see how they compare to these numbers. What I love about this is I can also look at reports, and two of the reports I love to look at is this one. This is my time in range, and you'll see there it says for the last 7 days I've been in range for 73% of the time. And then down below, you see it says 23% lows, and then there's 4% that are very low, and those are usually below 54, okay? And so once again, we'll see what this looks like on the Dexcom. If I look at the 90-day average, 86% is where I am in terms of in range, and then down here, I am 14%. So if you add those up, 86 and 14, that gives you 100%. So that's why, that's what you see there. If I back up and look at my average blood sugars for 14 days, right up in this line right here, you see my average is 82. And then down below, you can see those little green bars. It breaks my blood sugar up over the course of the day, different times of the day, that gives me different averages. Same thing going for 90 days now. Here's my average, 89. And then coming back down, and here is the breakout in terms of the different times of the day. Okay, so let's get back over to this one, and let's go ahead and pull up. Here is my Dexcom, and this is a G7, and you'll see my blood sugar is 87. And notice the difference. Right now, this says 87, and the Libre says 53, right? So that's a pretty big difference between the two. If I look at the 24-hour period, the graph down here, I could put my finger over it again and just kind of scroll through, and we're in the 90s, low 100s, 90s, 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 low 100s, 90s, low 100s, and right about there, we still see, I thought my toothpaste effect was going to be a little bit different today, but it didn't look like it. I got a big difference, but we'll see what the ketones look like. Low 100s, and then so we popped up, look there, let's see, up to about 134. Yeah, 134 was the highest, and then started coming back down as we went through the course of the rest of the day. Well, I'm excited to see what this is going to show, because I have not looked at ketones. In fact, I didn't look at my Dexcom all day. I've been the Libre has been alerting, and I've been taking it, turning it off. So let's go ahead and let's see what's going on blood sugar wise. So let's look at these monitors. So here is my Keto Mojo, which gives me both a blood sugar and it also gives me ketones, and then the contour. Here's my container, and I need a blue for ketones. I need a brown one for blood sugar. And then, of course, I need strips for the contour. And here is, I'm going to get some lancets out. All right, so I'm going to put one of these off to the side. Open up, this is the strip for the contour. And I was going to say, I wish that they do the Keto Mojo ones like this, but yeah, I won't say that. All right, so this one, here's the Keto Mojo strip. Let's go ahead and pop that open. Get that into the monitor. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the strip for the ketones. And what do you think my ketones are going to be, by the way? All right, so go ahead and drop your guess in. I'm going to take this and leave it off to the side. And go ahead and grab a lancet. Get a finger and get that ow. Okay, and let's see. Okay, that was a pretty brisk drop. Get that out. Get this one going. And I'm going to keep remember last night when I did the check-in, I had to stick myself again. So 68 is what the Keto Mojo says. And 67 is what the contour says. Right there is the Dexcom saying 94. And here's my Libre saying 53. So they're all pretty different. The Libre and the contour and the Keto Mojo seem to be much closer to each other compared to the Dexcom. Let's get that strip out and get started with ketones. And let's see here. Let's get that drop in. And what do you think it's going to be? Go ahead and drop your guess. All right. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And 1.0. 1.0 is where the Keto Mojo says we are. So with that, let's go ahead and get over to the Keto Mojo app. And let's sync that up. And let's talk a little bit about ketones. All right. So that's pulling the information over. And there it is, success. And so let's do this. Let's go over to this one. And we're looking at these three numbers right here. So the big one in the circle, 3.7. And then we're looking at the glucose, which is over there in the brown. And then the ketones, which is in the 1 point, or the, what's that, blue, turquoise, aqua. All right, so these are our three numbers. So the first one, let's talk about what we mean by ketones. So ketones are the breakdown products that come from burning fat. Okay, so that's a simple way. There are other things we can talk about, but that's going to be enough for right now. And so our ketones, when they're less than 0.5, those are considered normal ketones. 0.5 to 1.5 are considered nutritional ketosis, which is where we tend to want people to be in. We'll make a comment about that in a minute. And then above that, above 1.5, considered therapeutic ketosis. So if we're doing a fast and we're looking to get into ketosis, or we're doing a ketogenic diet, or we can add in there the fasting mimicking diets, right? Although there's some nuances to that one. We want ketones that are 0.5 or higher, because if the ketones are 0.5 or higher, then we know the only way for us to get ketones is for our body to be burning fat. Make sense? Right? So we want ketones 0.5 or higher. And then the three numbers that you're seeing here, the big 3.7 is what's called the glucose ketone index, or glucoketo index. And it is a ratio of the glucose to the ketones. Now, if you're looking at those numbers, you're saying, wait a minute, if I divide 68 by 1, that doesn't give me 3.7. Well, that 68, we have to convert it to international units. So let me go ahead and I'm going to pull up my calculator, and we can do that together. So let's see. All right, so blood sugar was 68. If I divide that by 18, that now converts it into international units, and then I now divide that by the 1, right? So 3.7 divided by 1 gives me 3.7, and that's the number that you see right here in the middle, okay? And so we typically want that GKI to be as low as possible. The glucose, we want that to be low, and the ketones, we want those to be as high as possible. So 0.5 or higher is what we say. If you look at my graph from last night when we checked in at 33 hours, you'll notice there the turquoise line, the dashed one, those are ketones, and then the tan line, that is blood sugar. Now, as my blood sugar was high, which up here, notice that the ketones were low, because glucose or ketones and insulin can't exist in the same space for long. Once the insulin comes out, then the body stops burning fat, and so ketones begin going away. And so as my blood sugar was high, my insulin at that point had to be high because the blood sugar was high. And when I say high, relative, right? So people are looking at the 127 and say, well, that's not really that high. Well, a normal blood sugar is anywhere from 70 to 99. So that is a high number, that 127. So my ketones were low, so essentially 0. And as my blood sugar went down, when we did our check-in at 33 hours, blood sugars were 78, and my ketones at that time were 0.6. So notice what happens. Blood sugar went down, ketones went up. And now my blood sugar got even lower, down to 68, and my ketones went up to 1.0. Okay, so as the blood sugar keeps going down, then the ketones keep going up. Right? And so when I see low blood sugars and I see ketones while I'm fasting, I'm excited, because the only way for me to get those ketones is that my body is burning fat, y'all, is getting rid of all this stuff right here. And that is, after all, one of the things that we want to do, okay? So that's just a quick discussion about ketones. Now, let's go ahead and let's get over to look at my monitors, my Dexcom Clarity report that's right down below us. And let's take a look. Let's do this view. We don't use this one often. So right here, my average over the last 14 days is 117. And so we usually tell people we want it to be between 100 and 120. So 117. I'm in target 98% of the time, with the target being anywhere from 70 to 180. And my glucose management indicator, remember the last one we saw for the ketones was the GKI, glucose ketone index. This one is my glucose management index, and it is an indication of what I would approximate my A1C would be. So if I were to get an A1C based on these numbers that you're seeing with me, then I would expect my A1C to be a 6.1. If I look at this over the last 90 days now, because that was 14 days, over the last 90 days, then my blood sugar average is 115. Once again, we recommend that your blood sugar be between 100 and 120. And so right in keeping with that. Now, if you're looking at your monitors, good point, good place to make this point. If you're looking at your monitors or when you get your CGM set up, the range that's in there is actually the range that we talk about right here, which is 70 to 180. But we don't want your blood sugars to be 180 or 170 or 140 or 150. We want the blood sugars to be lower. So even though that graph says 98% in target, you can be sitting at 180 and still be considered in target. And we know that 180, we don't want your blood sugars there. So we want you at the lower end of that, which is why I usually say between 100 and 120. And in fact, if you can have blood sugars that are 70, that's great. So the 100 to 120 is still an additional elevation in those blood sugars for safety. But if you can get blood sugars that are 70 all the time, man, that's amazing, because that's considered normal. So here, so 90 days, 115, in target 98% of the time, and my glucose management indicator 6.1. Now looking at the daily graphs, what I want to do is I'm going to go back and start here, which is where we started our fasting, right in here about 106 blood sugars. And we've tracked this before, but let's go ahead. So go back and see what I ate if you're interested in seeing how these numbers correlate. And that would be a good exercise for you to see what I ate before I started the fast. And now we're looking at the blood sugars that resulted from that over the next several hours. So ended the fast or started the fast right about here. So about an hour later, we're up to 128. An hour after that, 126. An hour after that, so now we're about 3 hours in, 133. At 4 hours, 125. At 5 hours, 120. At 6 hours, we're down to 116. 104 at 7 hours. 101 at 8 hours. And this popped up again to 115. That's at 9 hours. And then, of course, when we get to midnight, we're 108. Coming into the next morning after we started the fast. So now we're essentially 12-ish, maybe let's say 11 hours later. Blood sugar is 116. And notice we got some fluctuations in here down to the low 100s as we got into the morning. And then here's my toothpaste effect, which popped it up up to about look at that, 137, 139. And then those started coming back down. Down into the 110s, low 100s, and we dropped below, dropped below 100 right there, so 99, and then back up, here's a 98, 96, and just kind of straddling that 100 mark, and here we got down to in the low 90s, down into the 80s, and then we got into the rest of the day staying in the 90s and low 100s. And then coming into this morning, right? So low 100s, 100s. And here is, here's the toothpaste effect, which popped us up to about 131, got up to 136. And then throughout the rest of the day as we are coming back down. Now so let's go back. Let's talk about this part right here. Now, I'm blaming this mostly on toothpaste, right? And you guys have seen that with me before. But last night, I actually did not get a good night's sleep. So I didn't go to bed until right here about 2 o'clock. Okay? And so if you look at the rest of the day following that, so here's toothpaste, so that popped it up. Yeah, definitely made a change. But if you look at the rest of the day, look at how jagged that is. And look at how it stayed in the 100s, 120s, 130s, right? And all of this right here is without food. And so the spike occurred, yes, because of the toothpaste, but a lot of this is probably because of I didn't get good rest. Look at all that. Right? So because normally my blood sugars are pretty stable and pretty smooth. And then of course coming into the afternoon, into the evening, in the low 100s, 90s, 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 into where we are right now. Awesome. So I love that. And that's a good exercise. Once again, go back and take a look at what I ate All right, and that's in the this week's videos. You can see what I ate on Tuesday, and then kind of trace what that is, what those blood sugars were following that. And you can do the same thing when we do our fasting when we do our fasting review tomorrow, as we talk about the complete fasting review. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members, because I see you guys out there. Let's say hello. Let's see what we have. And I see Gion is out there. Gion says, hi, Doctor and LLG. What's up, Gion? Thank you for coming through. Gion says, I am 41 hours into the fast. Yes, yes, yes. I love it, love it. Get a hand clap for that. Gian is smiling. Kenty says, good morning, Gian. What's up, Kenty? In New Zealand. What time is it, by the way? Gian says, hi, Kenty, good afternoon. So Kenty is in the morning, Gian is in the afternoon, and we're at night. So did you eat your first meal? So as Gian is asking, Gian says 11 a.m. here, Friday, 19th of September. And Kenty's saying here, I'm not structured. I'm not structured. Trying to plan more. Okay, yeah, we've been talking about that structure, right? Great job, Kenty. I'm on a journey from my food addiction. Much better now, but still a way to go. Yeah, we're all on that journey together. Kenty's at 41 hours is a long time. So good job. I'm not food addicted, but I have my issues elsewhere. Yeah, we've all got some things in there, Kenty. I think fasting is helping for me, but fasting still is tough, can be tough. I'm so used to binging. I'm fasting 17 hours now, so congratulations, and put a hand clap there for you, Kenty. Gian says, I'm happy that we're on this journey together. Great. Me too. 9 p.m. Thursday. Okay. Yeah. Lamb stew, peanuts. Okay. I'm going to come get some of that stuff. For me, afternoon most of the time was binging and lay down. Your meals, great healthy food, I think. Okay. And then Kenty, progress, not perfection. Correct. Progress, not for perfection. Great job, Gian. Comes from Steve. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Steve. Hi, Steve from Gian. Yeah, I don't struggle with weight, but with other healthy lifestyle areas. Probably 70-ish kilograms, 150 pounds. Haven't measured. Okay. Yeah, we all have something in there. When was your last meal? Gian is asking. Gian, how tall are you? So we going there. So Steve says, I finished my 48 hours at lunch. I just did my ketones, and I'm surprised that I'm 3.7. Yeah, so Steve, whatever you're eating is helping to maintain that ketosis. And if you just had one meal a day, if you had just one meal today, then those ketones may last or stick around for a while. Let's see. Wow, from Gian. Gian says 1.5. And so they were guessing. And we'll come back and we'll look at some of those here in a minute. Just want to make sure that all right, yeah, so we'll come back and let me make sure I just put it right there. So 1.5. All right, so that's amazing, the benefits that we're seeing in the community and the things that we're getting in terms of our health. Okay, so let's jump into our talk for this episode, and I want to start with as we discuss this, we're continuing to talk about playing your own game, transitioning from playing your own game to our finish strong. So let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's have that discussion. So yeah, let's just jump into our discussion. So I want to start with a story that sets the stage for everything that we're going to talk about. here. And it is that, when you think about our health, when we think about our health, there are so many places, so many things that come to mind. And one of the things that I want to help you understand as we talk about rules that write results is that the structure that we have in place is ultimately very, very important. So I once spoke with an engineer who helped design a bridge. And he said, the bridge doesn't care who drives across it. A car, a bus, a truck. It holds not based on what's coming across, but it holds because we followed the rules when we built it. And that stuck with me. And that's exactly what discipline looks like. Rules hold you steady. Rules keep the bridge up. When pressure shows up, car, truck, bus, train, it doesn't matter because the rules that we followed holds the course and they help to take us where we need to go. And so let's talk about how to build rules that carry us forward. That's our conversation. How do we build rules to carry us forward? And the first place that we need to go when we talk about this is why negotiating in the moment always fails. So why does negotiation in the moment always fail? At this stage in our conversation, at this stage, our bodies, based on what we've been doing, our bodies are steady. The body is changing. It's forming. It is responding to what we're doing. We're walking along this path, the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, right? So the one non-negotiable for our food, one non-negotiable for our meals, for our exercise and activity, and one non-negotiable for our mentation. You, in terms of your body, you've done a good job. And the idea is that the brain starts to bargain. Right? One bite, and we've talked about it, one bite won't hurt. Yeah, you don't have to go today. You've been doing a great job. Does that sound familiar? And here's the truth. If you're negotiating in the moment, you almost always lose. If you're having that conversation at that time, and that's not a weakness, it's biology. The prefrontal cortex, that's the part that makes the decisions, is supposed to come over and take over from the amygdala. And the amygdala is that part of the brain that is our survival, right? Sees danger and it wants to run. But the prefrontal cortex is our decision-making center. And it literally has, when we're stressed, when we don't have good sleep, it has less fuel to make decisions. That's why decision fatigue is real. That's why when you're hungry and you're tired, you're exhausted, you've been making decisions all day, the prefrontal cortex is running out of fuel. So discipline means you don't negotiate in that moment, but you are deciding in advance. Basically, you're pre-deciding. That's what rules are, a pre-decision. They're like setting your GPS before you take the trip, so you don't end up lost on the side of the road or in places that you don't want to go because the GPS started back here and is directing you now. But if you're waiting for the time when you're in the situation, guess what? You've already been lost. And you've got to now retrace. You got to back up. And if you think about it, your body already understands the principle of rules. Oh yeah, the body's already there. And the body's saying, yeah, I've got the rules. I know what's going on. I'm already in the space. And I want you to think about it. When you are exercising, when you're eating well, your body is following rules. As a matter of fact, even if you're not doing that, your body's following rules. It's working on a set of rules. It's not winging it. It's following structure. For example, what? So when insulin drops, fat gets mobilized. It's a rule. It's kind of like throwing a rock up. What's going to happen? It's going to come back down. It's a rule. When glycogen runs low, ketones rise. It's a rule. When cells feel stress, autophagy and repair kicks in. Your body doesn't debate it. It doesn't say, should I burn that fat today? It just follows the rules. And that's the shift. If your body can follow the rules, right? And those are the rules it was designed with. Why not mirror the same thing, mirror the same clarity in your life in general? Following rules removes the fight and brings flow. Come on. Following rules removes the fight, the decision. You got to make, okay, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? What's going on? Because the body's following the rules. Now that we know rules work, because we know that, let's take a look at a three system, if you will, three types of rules, three different types of rules that can help to build your life. Let's take a look at those. And the first one that we want to talk about is the rule of protective systems, right? So protective rules. They keep us from danger. For example, no food after 7 p.m. No soda in the house. Well, let's think about rules in general. In your house, in your job, there are certain rules that you have. Like when my son was growing up, don't touch the stove. Don't go up the steps. Right? What are those rules designed to do? They're designed to keep us from danger. And so you can set some of those up for yourself. Today, I was talking to someone, and they said to me, a couple, they said, hey, we are fine during the day, but at nighttime, we sit down and we watch movies, and we eat like we have not eaten before. So a rule, a protective rule, keeps us from the danger in that situation. So I'm not going to eat after 7 o'clock. It's a rule. No soda in the house. No Ben and Jerry's in the house. A protective rule. Number 2, a proactive rule. Proactive rule. And a proactive rule is a rule that moves us forward. Moves us forward. So when I'm talking about my strength training, right? Maybe one of the rules is I'll do 10 squats before I take my shower. Maybe I'll do those push-ups, as I mentioned before, while I'm waiting for the shower to warm up. So a rule is something that pushes us forward. So it's not necessarily a protective rule, right? Like I'm not eating, I'm not bringing things in the house, but it is moving me in that direction. When I travel, and if you've watched some of our episodes, you saw me exercising on the beach. You saw me exercising in the hotel room. You saw me exercising in the gym at the hotel. You saw me exercising in my living room. Why? Because that's a rule. I am going to move. Metabolic optimization via exercise. And it's moving me forward in the direction I want to go. Now, did I do the entire workout on that day? No. But I've got my 5-minute workout, my circuit that I'm doing, and I do that. And even in a space where that doesn't happen, you saw me doing push-ups on the counter. So it's a proactive. It's taking me in the direction I want to go. And then there's a restorative rule. Restorative rules fill your tank. Come on. So journaling, I'm going to journal, is a restorative rule. I am going to put my phone down at X time and get ready for bed, is a restorative rule. I'm going to do my yoga. I'm going to do my prayer. I'm going to do my Bible study. It's a restorative rule because it's helping you to refill your tank. Because if the tank is empty, then you're less likely to be able to handle the other things that are going on. Right? So those are our three types of rule: the protective, the proactive, the restorative. With these three in play, when we're doing that, you're not just avoiding failure, you are building momentum, your recovery, and you're building consistency. Because we are doing things, we're not just letting it happen. We're not just letting it go by itself. But rules aren't just helpful. They're powerful because of how they serve and how they shape biology and psychology. Very important. So let's talk a little bit about the science. Let's talk about the science of why rules work. Here's why rules work more than good ideas. Our brain is wired that way. Rules reduce decision fatigue. Every choice burns energy. Every time you have to, so think about it. Your brain, it is working. And in order for it to function, it needs energy. So every time we're making decisions, energy is being used. Willpower is limited. My motivation is limited. Oh man, that really motivated me. I'm excited about that. That's limited. But when we make choices, it's burning energy. And if there's a rule that takes the decision away from me, so I don't have to make a decision because I've pre-decided, then that's less energy that I'm using. Rules lower cortisol. Structure reduces stress. That stress signals safety. And when I'm safe, my body decreases cortisol. But if I'm fighting, should I not? Should I go walking? No, I'm not going to do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, but you didn't do it yesterday. Oh man, I'll wait till, right? So that right there, that fight is a stress. And when we have a rule, the rule lowers the stress. And then rules build habits. Repeat. Neuroplasticity. Our brain is in the process of making additional connections. That muscle memory that people talk about, right? When you do something over and over, then the body says, okay, boom, that's automatic. It becomes the thing that you do. And I often say, it's kind of like getting in your car. You get in, you turn it on, and you hit the gas, and you come out of your garage, and you're driving, and before you know it, you're at your work, you're at your wherever you're going, and you didn't even realize it. There are times where I have to actually turn around because I'm heading to work, but that's not where I was planning to go. But I just got in the car, and I started driving. I was like, oh man, I wasn't going to work today. I was going over here to the store. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth anymore. You get up and you're going about your business, and somehow the teeth gets brushed because your hand goes, opens the drawer, gets the toothbrush, and you're done. No drama, no debate. It just happens. So rules help us to build habit. The science is clear. Rules take the load off your mind and free energy for what really matters. The things that we are so much want to do. So there's science behind it. And this is where one of my favorite frameworks comes into play. The COPE model. Clarify, observe, pause, and execute. Let me show you how it fits. So clarify, the COPE model says that we are in a particular situation working to make sure or to find out what is actually going on. We identify the trigger and how the body is reacting. We clarify. We know that we're not hungry. What happened? It was the fact that my boss got onto me. It was the fact that that project is overdue. It was the fact that I didn't get as much money as I thought. It was the fact that I thought that this was going to go a certain way, this conversation, this relationship. What was the trigger? But it's not hunger. It's not the fact that you really just love that outfit and you want to really spend the money. It is a buffering behavior. So buffering behaviors are those things that we use to blunt, to insulate, to avoid the emotions that come from whatever it is that's there. We're clarifying because we know it's not the buffering that we need. It is something that's happened and we are interpreting it as, okay, I need to go eat. So clarify. Observe. We're checking in with ourselves. Where am I feeling that? Am I feeling it in my head? Is my top of my head hot? I'm angry. Is my stomach churning? I'm anxious. Am I closed? I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling lonely. Where am I feeling in my body? Because once I could name it, once I can give a word to what I'm feeling, I'm much more able to deal with it. We want to step back and we want to name the emotion without judgment. It's not, oh, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be angry, or you shouldn't be depressed, or whatever the thing. We're not judging. We're just naming it. Because when we put a name to it, we can begin learning how to handle it. And then we pause. We take action and reflect on how it worked. No, that should be back. So we take a moment before reacting. We take a moment before. So pause. We're taking a moment before we react. So somebody says something to you, you don't just go boom. Right? We're going to take a moment before we react. And then we're going to execute. And the execute is, what is the thing we're going to do? And this is where the rule comes in. The rules are woven into COPE. It gives you both clarity and accountability. What is the thing that you're going to do instead of what you normally do? An if-then statement. When I did computers, that was one of the things, right? If this happens, then this goes on. If that happens, then we do this. You will need a set of if-then statements. If I'm tired, I'm going to go to sleep. If I feel hungry, I'm going to drink some water. If I wake up late, instead of doing the entire routine, I'll just do 5 push-ups or 5 squats. Those rules and the COPE model, they stop excuses in their tracks and keep you aligned with the health goals that you have. And when you start living like this, when you start living and going through the COPE model, what happens is something amazing. Something amazing. The rules stop feeling restrictive. Come on, come on. The rules no longer feel restrictive. And the rules Because what they're doing is they're creating freedom. Most people think about rules as chains. The truth is that rules are keys. Rules free your mind from chaos because there's order. Rules free you from constantly bargaining because the decision is made. Rules free you from repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again because it's standardized. Think of the bridge again. Nobody pulls up and gets halfway over and then stops to check the bolts. The structure holds. They go across. That's the gift that your rule gives you. Freedom to move forward without second guessing. So let's land this. Let me give you a big takeaway. And a mantra, if you will, that I want you to carry into the rest of your day, into the rest of your week. Here's the takeaway. And I want you to I want you to think about this. Excuses get loud, but rules write the results. Excuses motivation is going to go away. The excuses will come, but it's the rules that end up taking us to the result. Just as your body heals by following its own rules, you can create simple, personal rules that keep you aligned with your goals. And here's the mantra that I want you to carry with you. Rules create freedom. Rules build trust. And rules write results. Rules create freedom. Rules build trust. And results are written by those rules. Okay, get a piece of paper. Let's write them. Say it again. Rules create freedom. Rules build trust. And rules write results. That's the bridge that carries you forward. Not just in our health, which is what we're talking about, but in every part of your life. Every place you go, if you are following the rules, then the rules will take you in the direction of success. It is part of the blueprint. Oh. That's why that bridge, there you go. That's why that bridge lasted. That's why you can drive. I'm from New York, right? So they got all bridges all over the place. Williamsburg, the Brooklyn Bridge, the Verrazano Bridge. We got bridges everywhere. It seems like. And those bridges have been there for years. Why? Because they followed the blueprint. And if you follow the blueprint, if you understand that the rules that you are creating, the rules that you're giving, the rules that you're putting in place will help to take you in the direction of success, then you are able to now give your trust, put your confidence in those rules, because you're not having to decide it every single time. So for those of us who are fasting, this is where the discipline gets real. Your body is already following the rules. Insulin is low. Fat is being mobilized. Ketones are rising. The temptation is to bargain. But the rules you set, I fast from X to Z. I fast from Tuesday to Friday. That's mine. I don't eat after X, right? I'm doing one meal a day. Like some of our community members are doing that. But the rules you set, those are what carry you. So I'd love to hear from you. What's one rule that you set this week that's keeping you steady? What's one rule that you have set? What's one rule that you will set? How about that? Put it in the comments. We'll come back. We'll talk more about fasting as we get into our 72-hour fast ending tomorrow. We'll do our complete review of fasting, how to get into the fast successfully, how to get through the fast, and how to break the fast. But in order to get to the other side of that, there are rules, and we follow the rules. That's what takes us there. In our health, right? So domains of health. You guys remember the domains of health, right? We're talking about our physical health, our mental health, spiritual, emotional, occupational, intellectual, all of those, environmental, all of them have rules. It doesn't matter where we are. And the things that we learn here help us to be successful in all those other areas. And that's why this is so beautiful. We're talking about fasting, we're talking about our health, but the health thing, the things that we learn in terms of our health will overshadow or encompass so much. And that's why fasting is a fascinating thing to do. Awesome. All right. Okay, so let's see. So drop in the comments. Drop in the comments. What is a rule? What is a rule that you have? What is a rule that you have that you're following? And let's go back over here and let's see. Look at some of our comments. So Gion was guessing at 1.5. Kenty said 177 centimeters, 5'9" and a half. Kenty said 1.0. Yes, 1.0 is what I was. Look at that, Kenty. Gion, 156 centimeters, 43 kilograms. Good weight. Great job, Kenty. You got the number. That's right. Kenty got it. Let me give you a hand clap and some music. For guessing that. Your weight is low. Kenty said I'm male 29. Hey Kenty, thank you for clarifying that for us. Kenty, LOL, we're ketones, one nutritional ketosis right there. Yes. My issue is normally carb and sugar addiction, lived out of control from sugar and food, and I have depression. I take so a lot of what we see. A lot of what we see as it relates to, let's go back and think about the COPE model, COPE, clarify, observe, pause, and execute. A lot of what we see in terms of buffering comes from the emotions, right? Remember the HEAT model, habits, emotions, access, and taste, those things that push our buttons. A lot of it comes from that. So it's not uncommon for people who struggle with metabolic disease to also be struggling with some emotional and or psychological issues, right? So it is, and I've shared with you guys my transition, but my struggle with food addiction and other addiction, right? So I've talked about that, and it is not. Let me say this again. This is not a failing. It's not a weakness. It is something that we can manage. And one of the things that I had to kind of wrap my mind around early on, right? Because sometimes people say, I used to be an addict. Well, no. I'm a recovering addict. But it's something that we continue, and that's why those rules are so important, right? So those rules will take us into the future. Kenzie says you are not alone. A lot of negative news is going on. Yeah. So Jion is smiling, red face. Blah, blah, blah. I hope you have a great doctor or sort through your issues. Yes, Jion said thank you. You are not alone. That's right. You are not alone. Yeah, Dr. Wood having issues with rest and recovery. We all have a specific weakness. That's right. Rest and recovery. That's mine. That's mine. That's right. Oh, 41 hours. Very good. Steve said, Gian, cucumber and broccoli is what they had. What's up, Jennifer? What's going on? Sprout salad. Jennifer said, congratulations, Gian. Hi, Jennifer. A jerk chicken wing. Oh, you know what, Steve? Now that you said, I went to Publix, and I did not. Where do they have those? By the way, where do they have the jerk wings? Is that? Tell me that. Where is that in the freezer part, or is that in the fresh cooked chicken? Because I might have to get some of that, Steve. Macadamia nuts, cream brulee, lemon bars. Kenzie said, yes, structure planning is my weakness. Better 4%. LOL. Oh, wow, amazing, Steve. So we're talking about Steve's food. 4%. Gio says, my brain so good at bargaining. Yeah, we're all, our brains will do that, right? My health issues keep me in line. I don't have options. My rule is show up to doctor's life. And Steve says it's in the deli. Okay, Steve. So now I'm gonna have to. Well, it's too late now, but tomorrow, I'm actually I was at the store actually right before I got here, and because as you guys know, I cook at least once a week, and so I was usually cooking yesterday, which would have been a Wednesday, but. If I do that, I end up tasting. So I pushed it back. I gotta figure out some way. So just get my recipe good so that I don't have to taste it. But when you're in the kitchen and you got the smokers going and you bring this stuff in, you put it in the oven and all this. Yeah. And plus, like I said, I'm not such a great cook yet that I can do it without tasting. But we're working on that. So Steve says deli, so I'm gonna have to go try some of that Steve's tomorrow sometime. All right, and so everybody, I want to remind you as we talk about structure, right? The structure that we use here is educate, empower, encourage, calls our Triple E formula for success. We educate with the shows, with the podcasts, with the blogs. We empower with the tools that we're learning, and we encourage with the community that you are part of, that you are building, that we are growing. When we see your results, when we see what's going on with you, we're so excited because it encourages us, encourages me, and it is exactly the answer that other people in the community may need. So share your story, bring somebody along with you, talk to your family, your friends, your doctor's office, people at your church, people around your neighborhood, your community, wherever you are, right? Share with them the benefits that you're seeing in your life. Because there are so many people right now that are suffering from metabolic disease, and we want to make sure that we are helping out to curb and to solve, reverse that issue. I have always been so excited to be with you as we walk through this journey. We'll be back tomorrow as we do our complete review of fasting. It's going to be a little early because I have my doctor's appointment tomorrow. I'm going to go see my ophthalmologist, and that's at the time when we usually do our show. So it's going to be a little early tomorrow. So come on by, hang out with us as we walk through preparing for the fast, getting through the fast, and breaking the fast. On Saturday, we have video from the vault at 9 p.m. Central. On Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Central, right here on the channel, we've got This Week in Review. And then on a Monday, we'll be back in the saddle with Dwain Woode, MD Live, as we talk about finishing strong, as we look forward to our Blueprint series coming up over the next several months. Thank you for being here. Glad that you're here. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Now go live a limitless life, and we'll see you in the community, and we'll see you on the show. Good night, everybody.